to the mist-covered banks of the Hudson Valley and all across the globe. The signal drifts through the night. This is Midnight Signals. Now, here are your hosts, Sergeant Shenanigator and Alien Mike.
Hey, Alien Mike, how are you tonight, man?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Just out here living the dream. How's things on the west side?
What's that?
How's things on the west side of the country?
Well, they're
Yeah,
good.
we're not even gonna get into that.
Yeah, they're I'm good. We'll say
You're
that.
good. We'll leave it at that.
Good.
That's good.
Yeah. Nice lights, Sergeant. Oh, that's what you were going to show me is the lights you have up.
Yeah.
Okay, that looks nice.
Yeah, my daughter said we need to get some lights for behind me, so
Yeah,
I got those. Then,
that helps out a lot.
A couple episodes ago, they were talking about putting up a whiteboard, a conspiracy board, so it's going to go right in the middle of the lights.
Nice. As soon as I finish rearranging the office and all that, I'll put my whiteboards up and be like you said, a regular conspiracy theorist.
So I don't know if I'm ready for tonight's episode or not, man. I'm kind of nervous.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Don't know what's going to happen. Sure, he was going to show you the lights.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting, to see what comes of it.
Oh, yeah. So you ready to get this show on the road?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Well, tonight's broadcast may be the one that we're not supposed to air. The men in black don't like their story told. They've silenced witnesses, shredded evidence, and erased lives. If you're hearing this, it means we've slipped past their watch, at least for now. They come in the dead of the night in cars that vanish without sound. Their faces are wrong. Their voices are colder than the grave. They don't ask questions. They deliver warnings. Forget what you saw. Burn the photos. Stay silent. For decades, they've haunted UFO sightings, Mothman encounters, and even the first whispers of Roswell. They stalk the roads of America and the minds of those who dare look too closely into the unknown. And every time their message is the same. Talk about this, and you won't like what happens next. So if our signal suddenly dies tonight, if the feed cuts to static, remember this moment, because it may be the last one we ever get to share. Welcome to tonight's Midnight Signal.
Yep. And
the Men in Black.
Definitely, I definitely had a lot of fun with this.
I did too.
Like I was telling you after our last episode, we talked, said we'll get back together within a couple of days and we'll figure out what we're going to do. And I was up until probably 3 a.m. and got lost just in this whole thing. I trying to figure out what we should research, and this is what kind of stuck out. And so,
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I got so lost in this. I actually had a nightmare of a man in black coming in and telling me to stop watching the videos I'm watching.
Yeah, I didn't have the nightmare, but I was watching a lot, and that thought occurred. It's like, okay, well, who's going to show up? Is somebody going to say something, do something? Are we not going to be able to log in? What's going to go on?
Yeah.
So
why are you going to kick it off for us?
Okay, well, the first one that I wanted to talk about was the Maury Island incident that happened on June 21st, 1947, near Tacoma, Washington. The witnesses were Harold Dahl and his son, plus 2 crewmen and a dog. Harold claimed that he was on a boat when 6 large donut-shaped UFOs had appeared overhead. One of them seemed to have something wrong with it, like it was malfunctioning, and began spurting out fire, molten lava type debris all over the place. I guess it injured his son, it killed the dog, and the boat was damaged. After that, he reportedly took photos of the objects and even collected, some of the slag or molten metal that had dropped from whatever, he had seen. And then after that, the next day, he was visited by mysterious men in black. But, he didn't know who they were. All he knew was they were all black, black suit, black tie, that type of thing. They seemed to know everything that had happened, to him and his kid the night before, but he hadn't told anybody. So how they know, that's always the fascinating thing, how they know these things when you have a single thing.
I did the research on this too, and I don't remember him really going out of his way and talking to a lot of people. I think he talked to his neighbor.
Yeah, he did. He told his neighbor what had happened, but that was it. I don't even think he had showed him any of the Polaroids or anything like that. It was, hey, this happened to me. And from what I gathered, his neighbor was like, yeah, sure, whatever, Most people didn't believe anything like that, especially back then.
Well, excuse me. This was, when was Roswell was 47 too.
I think it was 47. I think.
I can't remember for sure now, but it was really close to that. So yeah, the big UFO craze hadn't really kicked off yet.
I mean
there were sightings, but
yeah. I mean, and all through history, you can see in different literature and stuff people talking about it, but it wasn't really a big thing. It wasn't popularized until Roswell, which I just looked it up. It was 47. So this actually, I'm gonna look real quick just so Roswell was June 4th to July 10th of 47. And so this was a week and a half later that this happened. So all, right there.
But, I mean, that just opened up a whole lot more. I mean, 6th craft up in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Could this have been part of Roswell?
Could have been. Well, and then think about what happened, what we talked about a few episodes ago, or the second episode. The Battle of Los Angeles was, everything in that area at that time, within a few years of each other.
Yeah.
But so he ended up telling his boss, whose name was Fred Chrisman, who later became really infamous in conspiracy circles. He was even named, which I thought was rather interesting, as a having some kind of connection to the JFK assassination. And I didn't really find out any more information other than that. So basically, I mean, it ended with them, from what I saw, was, they said, you cannot talk about this. Don't say anything. In every case that I have seen, they all say the same thing. If you talk about it, something bad's going to happen, either to you, your family, loved ones, something. And
here's what really confuses me. I don't know. I know we investigated the Maury Island different ways and came to the same story over and over. But the thing that really interests me was he was approached the next day by a man in a dark suit.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next day, 2 Air Force officers show up to investigate.
Yeah, that was actually what I was going to head up to next. Was it was Captain William Davidson and Lieutenant Frank Brown. They came to investigate. So, how do they know about it?
Yeah. So,
where did that come from? And they came in, they pretty much did what Harold did, took photos, collected evidence of, what was there. And, and they leave.
So
and
I know that the fallout of the whole thing was the Air Force claimed that the whole thing was a hoax set up by Dahl and Chrisman.
Yep.
Why would you come out and take samples if it's a hoax?
Exactly.
And Freedom of Information Act requests, they've taken samples, so there's reports somewhere.
Right.
But they're not releasing the reports of what that is.
No. And it that was what, with this case in particular was interesting to me, is if it was a hoax, like you said, there would be no reason to come out and investigate. And so
that leads up to what we were talking about earlier. What are the Men in Black?
So what did you find out about them? Like, what is, because if you talk to anybody within the last, I don't even know when it came out, 30 years roughly, maybe a little less or more, you say Men in Black, they think of Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones, yep.
That's all they don't really, unless it's somebody that's involved in UFO research or the paranormal, they don't generally know. So what did you come up with?
I personally think the Men in Black are one of 4 different characters.
Okay.
I think one of them is government agents, 100% government agents trying to protect secrets.
Yep.
Do I think that there's a Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones thing where they're, the immigrations and custom enforcement for aliens from other worlds? No, great movie though. It was a great movie.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I don't believe that to be the case. But
no,
I think up until 2017 when the Tic Tac video was released and it started gaining more traction, I think our government was trying to hide stuff. And I think that's where one version of the Men in Black come from.
Yeah. Yep.
The other one is still government agents, but I think they're the disinformation side of the government agents.
And which one is that?
They're the ones that used to go back in the 70s and 80s to the UFO conventions and start passing out disinformation. And we'll get into that later.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I know exactly who you're talking about, what you're talking about.
So I think as far as humans, those are the 2 types of Men in Black I think work for our government and for other governments. I don't think we're the only government that does this.
No, not at all. And honestly, I mean, the government is involved in so many things and keeping so many different secrets about so many different things. So do I believe that there are those out there that are stopping stuff? Yeah. But as far as with this, I don't know.
Now, what I also believe is the alien human hybrids.
Yep. And I think that kind of goes along the lines of the typical Men in Black description, the very pale, almost plastic like death like skin that's hairless, bigger eyes that talk very, they have a hard time with regular human emotions and mechanics of how they, walk and talk.
Yep.
And that is something that I've thought about quite a bit. Honestly, the one, and you'll probably mention this, that really intrigues me falls more along the paranormal side, and that's the interdimensional beings. And you watched the movie, I think a few times, that I had recommended, Alien Code.
Alien Code, yeah.
And I had just found that movie randomly one day. I think I had watched Area 51 and it was recommended, so I watched that right after. And I can't tell you how many times I watched it because it is just such a mind trip.
Yeah.
And
anybody that's really interested in a mind trip, check out Alien Code on Tubi.
Yes. And
it is.
I think Chaos Brief also kind of fell along that same lines.
I think it did.
And so both of those are what really got me more curious about the Men in Black. And that when I saw those, quite a long time ago, like right when they first came out. And just the whole interdimensional thing, like, because apparently show up.
Yep.
You know, something happens, and then all of a sudden, either a car just randomly shows up, or they have been said to materialize right there in front of you.
Yeah.
And you know, there's been lots of stories of people saying they're approached, they talk about it, they turn around, and all of a sudden they're gone, and they have no idea where they've went, how they went, no sight, sound, smell, nothing.
So, before I ask this next request, please give us a like, a follow.
Yes.
Share this video with other crazy conspiracy kooks like us.
Yep.
And we'd love to. The next thing is we'd love to hear what you guys think MIB is.
Yep.
Get in the comments and let us know what you guys think the Men in Black really are. Love to hear what you have to say.
I'd like to hear everybody else's opinion. I can't see. I'm not on the YouTube side of things right now, so I can't tell if I see, Sue and Sarah, but I don't see who else is watching, if anybody. Do you know?
I can't tell. Hold on a second. Nope, really can't tell.
Okay.
But yeah, let us know.
Yeah,
With that being said, I think that brings us to the next guy, the Albert K. Bender case.
That was a fun. Why don't you go ahead and talk about that one, since I did the Maury Island incident, and I'll interject if I have something to say on that.
You're gonna interject because I think you researched this one a lot more than I did.
Oh, okay. One second. Sorry, I had to holler at my son real quick. Not push it down. Right there. Thank you. That's good. Thank you. Okay. So there we go. Hey, you have to turn that light back on, dude. Nobody can see me. It's not funny. I'm live right now, bud. Okay. Sorry about that. So Bender, that one was just unreal. Happened in the early 50s. Let's see, where do I start with this one? He was really one of the earliest and most famous. I think there we go. Hold on. I just tabbed back over. Everybody says hi, bud. He's got headphones on. He can't hear anything. Yeah. He always does stuff like that, Nadine. He's a little smart ass. I think they're hybrid or cryptid style beings, and that's a thought that I've had as well. But it was one of the earliest and most famous figures connected to the Men in Black. It happened in the early 50s, like I was saying. Bender, which was also interesting, he had founded the International Flying Saucer Bureau, one of the first ever civilian organizations dedicated to UFOs and other aerial phenomena, I guess. He also used to publish a newsletter called Space Review, which gained, a lot of international attention among all UFO and space enthusiasts. So he had claimed to have uncovered a bunch of shocking information about UFOs, enough that he was going to publish a huge revelation in. I tabbed back right to see that. He had gained enough information that he was going to go public with it and publish an article in his magazine or something to that effect in 1953.
And I never saw actual numbers, but they said he had hundreds of people on his mailing list.
Oh, a lot. Yeah, I didn't see all of them either. One second. Yeah, I could never find any actual numbers that said how many, but they just said hundreds. One second. Okay, sorry about that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that kid. So yeah,
I'll fault
sorry.
that.
Yeah, he's sitting there flipping the lights on and off again, being a typical 11-year-old. So anyway, before he could release the findings, said he was visited by 3 men, strange men dressed in black. And I think this is where it kind of comes out that the classic description of very pale, hairless, because that's the description he gave on how they looked. They wore hats, dark clothes, and he said their eyes glowed, which I hadn't heard any other cases of anybody saying that. What I did find interesting about this one is in most Men in Black sightings or cases, they talk to you, and albeit very monotone and robotic, these guys didn't talk. He said they just telepathically just looked at him and gave almost like an alien code when they approached. Now I can't even remember the kid's name, but anyway, him, and he started like getting really bad. Oh, we've got tons of them, but I have to hide them from him because he does that to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
alien Mike.
Yeah. He he's falling over, getting a really bad headache and very nauseous, and then they leave, and that's essentially what ended up happening. He said there was a, strong sulfur-like smell, but they told him that you cannot publish any of this information and threatened him and said you're not going to do it. After that, I would assume rightfully so, was petrified of what was going to happen. So he never published it. So Space Review never, I think, was done after that. The International Flying Saucer Bureau was completely done after that as well.
Yep.
And
now,
go ahead.
Now here's from his description and the description of Harold Dahl.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly believe Harold Dahl was visited by government agents.
Right, and that's reading the 2 stories. That's where I lie as well. That it was definitely government agents for him.
Smell of sulfur, the glowing eyes. It's Albert Bender was visited by the alien hybrid, or he could have been visited by interdimensional.
Yep, that's not government agents, and that's. And going just on that account, I mean, that is, if you believe that happened, of course, and that's something for everybody to make up on their, make their mind up for themselves. There are a lot of people out there that do a lot of stuff just for attention, but somebody whose whole life revolves around UFOs and publishing these magazines and has a whole organization dedicated to it and hundreds of people on a mailing list, I don't think they would just randomly shut it down for no reason.
Yeah.
That I don't think that would happen, but it could, but I find that, bless you, highly unlikely.
So his organization shut down. His magazine shut down.
Yep.
But years later, didn't he write a book?
Yeah, he did. And I'm actually just trying to find. Oh, there it is. I couldn't remember the name of it. It's on my list though. It was done in 1962. It's Flying Saucers and the 3 Men.
Yep.
And he described the beings as not fully human, more like supernatural or alien entities, which, we already talked about, rather than government agents. And that's in the book is where he said they could, materialize in his room. They gave headaches, made him feeling, nauseous, the smell of sulfur when they, arrived or left.
So
go ahead.
I know his book wasn't a big seller, but it did sell within the the UFO community. It sold big there. So
yeah, it really did. It did with the the science fiction and UFO community. It did, which leads me to somebody else that I am pretty sure he worked with, if I remember correctly, and that was now. Don't quote me on this because I've seen it written both ways, but Gray Barker or Gary Barker.
I've seen it written both ways too, and I keep coming back to Gray Barker.
That's what I keep coming back to as well. Lilith, good to see you. He wrote a book as well called "They Knew Too Much About Flying Saucers," and that was in '56. So right after this all happened. And then other than that,
now Gray Barker he wrote about Bender's interaction with the Men in Black, didn't he? That was part of his book as well.
yeah, I believe that. Yeah, I believe that was. I haven't read it yet. I've got it on my list as well, but I think that's what it was mainly about, was Bender's interaction and what happened.
So
And
the big question then becomes: did Bender create the current myth of Men in Black, or did Gray Barker?
that is something I've honestly thought about this week, because Bender talked about it openly, what happened, and he described it, but it didn't really, I think, gain popularity until Barker's book came out a few years later. So
Barker's book sold a lot more.
Yeah, I personally believe it was Barker that brought it to the forefront of what they look like and how they act, and and let people know. I don't have it on here anymore. I have it on my whiteboard in the other room, but I had something written down.
Conspiracy theorists have whiteboards in every room.
Yeah, I had it written down, the connection between Barker and Bender, but now
I thought I did too, but I couldn't find it in my notes.
Yeah, I don't have it on here. Anyway, yeah.
But those were the two first in the United States.
Yes.
They're when I did some research, it kept saying that not the Men in Black, but aliens telling people to be quiet about what they saw dating back to the 1600s. But then when you go look, there's nothing there.
No, that's kind of the problem I had with it. I tried to find other examples of it, and it was, you could see people talking about it, or saying this happened, but there was no evidence or no books written on it or nothing, and so I just kind of go back to what I was saying at the beginning, where for hundreds and hundreds of years, if not longer, people have mentioned something to the effect of something they didn't know flying in the air, or something weird they saw, but whether or not they had the ability to, or to correctly describe what they saw or explanations about it, I don't know.
I can't picture with the hieroglyphs with alien craft in Egypt. I can't picture Tutankhamun coming out with his secret police and sending them out to talk to the masses, saying, "You didn't see that.
Yeah,
these are not the droids you were looking for."
And Lilith, actually, I don't know if you posted it on there. I didn't see it, but her comment was rather interesting, because he's a Gray.
Oh,
Gray
I
Barker.
didn't see that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I just barely saw it, and that's
wow.
That's a good point. Because
all this,
what if you're one of those hybrids?
I never caught that.
Yeah. So it's I know. So did you find any other specific cases that you wanted to talk about? I ran into many, but there was.
I found a ton. I mean, the ones I read, you could tell halfway through reading it, you're like, No, this is just some guy posting on social media or
Yep.
creating a website that just wants to tell a tall tale.
Yep, exactly.
Jack Robinson in New Jersey in 1968, he was a UFO researcher, and allegedly his apartment was stalked, broken into, and ransacked by a man in black. Now, I'm going to show a picture in a second. His friend, Timothy Green Beckley, managed to snap a photo, making it the only known photo of an MIB ever taken. But here's the photo that he claims to have taken.
Yep.
And this photo is also associated with another Men in Black incident. Is there any?
Is there any footage of them? I only saw one photo this morning just before the podcast started. Oh, that's not the one.
The two that we were talking about earlier. Harold Dahl said he had some Polaroids, but
I never saw anything of it.
Yeah, he never released them. He took the warning to heart and he shut up.
Yeah. And it was the same with Bender. You know, his head looks too small. Yeah. Yep. The one on the back.
Look, his head does look too small.
Yep. And that's what I would read, you know, in a lot of places is their proportions aren't correct.
Yeah.
Well,
now, what I've read is the alien human hybrid, their proportions are correct and they look more human.
Right.
But the actual aliens, I mean, just a couple of stories I read, all said the same thing. And again, I'm getting some of these stories from Reddit and some of these stories from other places that can't be verified. But the actual aliens, like the one I just posted, the so-called aliens, they don't know how to use utensils. Apparently, one showed up at a restaurant one time and wanted something to drink and eat. And they gave him some Jell-O, and he just put his head down in the Jell-O and slurped it up. So it is complete off the wall because they're just they don't know
I didn't see that
what they're doing down here.
That's too funny. Yeah. Everything that I read about them, it's like the main things were they don't understand human mannerisms, I guess is the word. You know, they don't know how we walk and, you know, the things we do with our hands and arms and the way we speak. It's usually very monotone, very robotic.
But the ones that are supposedly the alien human hybrids, they know what they're doing. They can play the part, other than some facial features will be wrong.
Yep. And every photo that I pretty much found, aside from a few, was all the typical, you know, bald and pale and hairless completely. And I couldn't ever really find, other than, you know, the photo that you just posted, they look like they have more human characteristics.
Yeah.
So
now I know there was one
rather than walk.
Talk about Men in Black showing up at a woman's work.
Yeah, I wish I had it on here so that I could show everybody, but I'd seen it probably, I want to say 2 or 3 years ago. It was, I don't know if she worked for like a hotel or in an office building or something, but they walked in and they started talking to her. I mean, they looked just like your typical Men in Black and very just bluntly asking her questions, and she didn't give them really any answers at first, and then it was all captured on CCTV, and so I don't know if this is like legitimate or not.
That's the other part of where this picture supposedly came from.
Okay, so that might be it then, because that looked like it, but just from a different angle.
Yeah.
And she was behind the desk, and she said a few things about it, and she had like turned around to, I don't know if it was to grab something out of her purse or something like that, and then they were gone. And I think I saw it on YouTube, to be honest. I can't remember though, but everything I read, like there was no definite answer. Like if this was true, two guys inside the suit. So I never got any more information other than.
That back picture does look a lot wider than
Yes, it does.
what it should be for his head.
Yep. And I swear when you posted this photo, I swear that was the exact photo that I had seen from this video, except for they were walking the opposite direction in the doors. So they would be coming down the screen going to the right.
Yeah,
so it was,
I can see that.
And it was like that one was grainy.
Yeah, I think that photo is from the one you're talking about.
Yeah. And I remember seeing it a few years back and was really fascinated with it, but I didn't like really look into it other than reading the description about it and the comments about it. And that was really it. But yeah, it fits terribly. And that's another thing is that I've read is their clothing 9 times out of 10 doesn't fit like a suit would fit.
Yeah.
It's very, either the majority of the time it's a lot bigger than it should be.
So I think there was another story that goes along with this photo.
Okay.
And
that looks familiar
this
too.
One was two men in black walk into a woman's office. She's like in a strip mall.
Mm-hmm.
They walk in and they just stare at her for a second. The surveillance shows nobody's talking at all. And all of a sudden the woman gets up and just walks out. One man in black leaves with her. The other comes around, looks at the desk for a second, and then he leaves. But she left her purse there. She left her everything there on the desk.
Okay, that one, I'm glad you brought that up because that was like the main one that I could not remember. But I knew there was something I wasn't remembering about one of them, and that was it. That nobody said anything. And that's what shocked me is they just stared at each other. And then her and one walk away. And I couldn't ever get any information off of that. Like I didn't know what was going on.
Oh, it's still, I can't remember. I honestly, when I first saw the story, I honestly think that she was just never seen again.
That's what I had heard, at that time with that story was she left and nobody had heard from her. So I don't know anything about it. I don't know the reasons behind any of it. And I remember just being really intrigued with it. And that, just like that first one we were talking about. So I'd like to find more information if we could.
Yeah. I know Lilith said 2 guys inside the suit.
There's 2 guys really close to each other to me. Can you pop it up again?
That is such a weird photo. I never noticed that when I first downloaded it.
Well, so to the left of the guy.
His shoulders too high on one side. He's not leaning.
No. Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see the guy that's in between the double doors because it's almost like he was at an the other guy was at like an ATM or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's very, very broad shouldered. The suit, yeah.
I
Very
do
cool.
have one other story,
Okay.
and this one is about these guys, the actual government agents.
Okay.
And this story isn't a story. It's actually been proven to be accurate, and it's the disinformation side of the Men in Black.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
And this was done back in the 80s. And it was run by the Air Force Office of Special Investigations.
The good old OSI.
And what they did was, yeah, this was kind of right at the end of the Cold War. I mean, the 80s just barely started, but UFO conventions were starting to get a little bit bigger. And there was a gentleman by the name of Paul Benowitz that had picked up some signals near Kirtland Air Force Base. And the signals were really picked up, but they sent Special Agent Richard Doty to go and talk to this guy. But rather than show up and say, you know what, you just need to be quiet about everything you heard. This is just a special drone, classified drone thing that we're working on. Instead of saying anything like that, he started feeding him disinformation.
Yep.
Started talking about things like Majestic 12, would slip him documents, slip him fake UFO stories, and got this guy. I mean, this guy was kind of a UFOologist at the beginning, but thanks to Special Agent Doty, he turned into a huge investigator of UFOs.
Mm.
And most of everything he was investigating was all made up.
Yep.
I mean, Agent Doty was going back as far as the 1940s, creating documents and basically putting the president's signature from the 1940s on documents to slip to this guy saying, yeah, even back in the 40s, I just forgot the president's name after Roosevelt.
Oh, God, you just had.
Hoover?
I forgot.
No.
Wasn't it?
Whoever was after Roosevelt,
Mm-hmm.
they would forge his name on these documents and then slip these to Paul Benowitz.
Mm-hmm.
And Paul Benowitz thought he was really onto something, so he started going to these UFO conventions. And he met Linda Moulton Howell, and anybody that's followed Art Bell knows who she is.
Mm-hmm.
Truman, thank you.
There we go. Yep. I was just pulling it up.
Yeah. I don't know why my brain went dead on Truman.
Yeah, I was thinking Hoover, Herbert Hoover, for some reason.
But here's the really interesting part about it. They were leaking phony information, but with true information mixed in.
Mm-hmm.
So they would talk about the Roswell crash as being an actual alien crash, but then put in enough false information so that if you ever brought it before Congress, it'd just be shut down because it was completely fake, even though there was bits and pieces in it that were true.
Stuff to discredit you.
Yep. Linda Moulton Howell, they started feeding her the Majestic 12 documents.
Mm-hmm.
So this went on for several years. It was probably one of the first true alien psyops missions around.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there were some that, psyops missions here and there, but this one, Linda Moulton Howell created her first book on Majestic 12, which ended up being,
Disinformation as opposed to misinformation.
even though it was sprinkled in with a lot of truths, her book was discredited as a hoax because of Special Agent Doty.
Yep.
Oh, this was 100% disinformation.
Yep. You know, this is a tiny bit off subject, but if you remember a few weeks ago when I was talking to you about Emery Smith on Gaia, when he came out as a whistleblower, saying he worked for Los Alamos and Area 51, one of the things he said was they would do, quote unquote, clones of aliens, or they would just have special effects, makeup effects of a statue standing there. So if anybody that worked there decided, like they walked by and saw an alien walking down the hall with somebody, that they wanted to blow the whistle on the whole joint, they could say, no, this is absolutely fake, and show them that it was fake to completely discredit them.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much the same thing, But, it's funny because on my whiteboard I had Benowitz, and this was circled, Benowitz and Doty, and then a question mark. And I couldn't figure out why I wrote that on there. I was listening to like 3 different podcasts at that time, and their names kept popping up. So I wrote it down. Don't know why until now.
But they would go as far as going to UFO conventions and heckling the speakers. And they knew what the speakers were going to talk about because, they'd all put out books. And they'd come in and they say, oh, no, we have the proof right here that everything you're talking about is wrong.
Right. And
they'd pass this information out across the whole UFO convention. But they were there as authentic ufologists. Mm-hmm. And the more I tracked it down, the more I realized it wasn't just Kirtland Air Base. I mean, there were people back in D.C. that were helping with this.
Mm-hmm.
So that leads me to believe that it wasn't just Kirtland Air Base. This was going on everywhere.
Yep. And so the question is why? Why do you think they would feed a bunch of disinformation to people instead of just telling them yes or no?
Yeah. So
to me, it's you're only going. If you ask somebody a question, they go, "Well, I can't tell you." Well, you pretty much know the answer. Because if it's no, you go, "No, you're full of shit. No, that's not right." When they won't tell you, they're hiding something.
Yeah.
So,
well, like I said before the show, to me, it is Chris Angel, David Copperfield.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, look at all this information I have right here. Don't pay any attention to that.
Yep, 100%.
And disinformation, especially in this, it is. I mean, it's popular across all branches of the government, but
right
when it comes to this, I mean, here we are, 2017. They finally say, "Hey, there may be something out there."
Yeah,
they're still not saying there's something out there. They're just saying there may be.
Yeah, and I guess I mean I know their logic as to why they've never wanted to say yes or no because of the possibility, like we discussed with Battle of Los Angeles, because of mass hysteria. But we're kind of at a place now that I think people are really catching on, and they'll take it fine. So I don't understand why you'd keep with all the secrecy,
Yeah. So, I you know what? We forgot something. We've been talking about UFOs for so long. We forgot about another Mothman sighting.
That's what it was. When I asked you what you wanted to talk about, like sightings or Men in Black and all that, that was one that popped up, and I don't have that on my list. So the floor is yours.
Yeah. So for anybody that knows about the Mothman prophecies, back in Point Pleasant, Ohio. I'm sorry. Yeah, Point
West
Pleasant,
Virginia.
Ohio.
I thought it was West Virginia.
The bridge connects West Virginia and Ohio. So maybe it was West Virginia.
Oh,
but it's right there.
I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Go ahead.
So I lost my train of thought for a second.
Bridge, Ohio, Point Place.
Four people are traveling in a car. Three or four people are traveling in a car heading back towards Point Pleasant. And they spot this creature standing in the middle of the road. It is completely a black creature, glowing red eyes and wings. Now, the Mothman prophecies have been going on for years, and anytime you spot the Mothman, disaster is imminent. And that was the case here. So in the 1980s, no, 70s. See, it's the one thing I forgot to write down is the years. Anyway, they spot this Mothman, and all of a sudden, the Mothman is being spotted all over Point Pleasant. And people are calling the local police department, the sheriff's office. Hey, there's this thing flying around. It can fly as fast as a car can drive. It can run as fast as a car can drive. The outcome, and I'm sure eventually we're going to do a whole episode on the Mothman, but the outcome is the bridge that connected West Virginia to Ohio on Christmas Eve collapsed during rush hour, fulfilling the Mothman prophecy of, disaster is always imminent when you spot the Mothman.
Okay. So yeah, I don't know much about I've seen. I mean, I think there's a movie called The Mothman Prophecies that I watched, when that came out, however long ago. But I don't really know anything about it, so this is interesting.
In the movie, it touches on it a little bit, but residents of Point Pleasant said that men in black started showing up and telling them to be quiet about seeing the Mothman. Don't talk about it. Don't let people know about it. And it wasn't just one or two people. There were reports of, a couple of dozen reports from people who didn't know each other that were talking about being visited by a man in black and being told, stay silent. If you know what's best for you, you're going to remain silent.
Now, what type of men in black do you think these are? Do you think it's like government agents? I'm
not sure on this one. On this one, I think we're talking probably interdimensional.
Oh, okay.
Or even time travel men in black. Mm-hmm. As tragic as this was, maybe this accident just needed to happen.
Right.
But I don't know what not talking about it would do. It wouldn't have kept people off the bridge.
Right. They would
have no fear in and out of town.
Yeah.
So I don't see why the men in black would show up. Or who knows? Maybe it was an alien, and the Mothman is part of the alien. One of the unknown aliens that we're unaware of that always bring doom and gloom when it shows up.
Yeah. My sister absolutely loves the Mothman, but that was one, not that I wasn't interested. I never looked into it. Even during all this research for this episode, it would pop up, but I didn't ever read anything other than, okay, John Keel or whatever his name is wrote a book and, a few bits and pieces about it. So that's really interesting. I honestly didn't know that.
I didn't know about the men in black showing up during that time until yesterday when I was researching.
Yeah, I didn't find any of that see any of that when I was researching stuff.
So I keep bringing up the Hudson Valley Lights.
Mm-hmm.
I just found out yesterday as well that the men in black would start showing up here telling people to quit talking about it. And
Really?
yeah, you're talking in just the book I read alone, it was something like 320 reports in one night to the police department about people spotting these lights. And
Wow.
the next day, they're going around, the men in black are going around saying, it's best if you don't talk about this. And
Yeah, I didn't know. I had no idea about
I think
that.
that one was government agents.
Yeah. And that again, it goes back to like, well, why wouldn't you want people to talk about it? What are you hiding?
Yeah.
That's always my question is why.
So
So since we're almost, I mean, it's four. Well, my time 6:55, 4:55. What are your thoughts like on Men in Black? Do you believe it? Do you not believe it? Where do you lie with this whole thing?
this one, I 100% believe the government men in black. 100%.
Yep.
The alien hybrid, I'm going to be honest with you. 85% yes, I believe it.
Mm-hmm.
The aliens, not so much. The guys that can't eat Jello without slurping it off a plate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say hard pass on that one. But I do believe that. What was? I watched one movie. I can't remember the name of it, but it was basically aliens walk among us, and it was alien human hybrids.
Yeah. I've got all of those Aliens Walk Among Us shows,
Yeah,
movies. Yeah.
I believe that's a possibility,
Mhm.
and I think if we get too close, I don't think they're trying to stop us from learning something, but I think they're trying to stop us from learning too fast.
Right. And that's I can't remember where it was from, but I just heard it again recently the other day that it's they we will know all this information eventually, they say, but they don't want us, like, we're not equipped to know about it now.
Yeah,
Like it, I don't know how they worded it, but it would basically destroy everybody to find out the truth about everything now.
yeah. So I think the hybrids, if they do exist, they're the ones that are saying they're not saying stop if you know what's best for you. They're basically slowing us down
Yeah.
so we
So
don't
you
go,
keep
hey, we
doing good time.
discovered this and find out that not only did we discover a way to time travel across space,
Mhm.
but we also discovered a way to blow up this planet 12 times over.
Yeah.
We've got to
Yeah.
slowly get into it.
Yep. And see, I'm with you 100% on government agents. I mean, agents go out and do things every day, and they stop people from doing things every day. So I believe that. What you were saying about, as far as aliens and the slurping and all that, yeah, that's kind of no, more
Cool.
wishy-washy. Like,
Cool.
yeah, great stories. The one that I'm always fascinated with, and again, I'll refer back to Alien Code, is interdimensional beings. And it's not that I believe 100% in it. I want to believe in the possibility that it can happen. That, I don't believe we're the only civilization out there, only life forms out there. So I want to believe that somewhere out there they are advanced enough that they could do it.
I think the alien hybrid and the interdimensional, I think those go hand in hand. I think they're,
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
a different dimension might have, they might be on the same timeline as us. And hey, we figured this out, but we killed a third of the planet. So we're letting you know, don't go further with what you're doing.
Yeah. And that's the one that really, really fascinates me. And that's kind of whenever I think about Men in Black, that's what I always picture is that. So
So
pretty
that's where I stand.
much
I know you said government 100%.
100%.
International you believe in. Alien
Yes, let me rephrase it. I'll say 85, 90% interdimensional. I'll believe in. You know, I can definitely see the possibility of that happening, and I want the possibility of that happening. I just think it's cool.
Okay, what about the alien hybrids?
I could see alien hybrids. You know, there's a part of me that does, not 100%, but
And I think we already
maybe 75.
have the answer on Jello slurping.
Yeah, yeah. That just it's hilarious. Everybody that knows me knows I will devour any and everything that has to do with UFOs and aliens, and I love the stories with that. But
I can answer this question right here.
Can you?
Only on only based on this photo. They did not find any other fingerprints besides the woman at that desk.
Really?
But that's such a bad photo. You can't see if he's wearing gloves.
Yeah.
So,
but will I devour Jello? Oh, you put a nice cherry Jello, I will devour it, 100%. And honestly, I may do it like the alien did, just shove my face into it and just slurp it up.
So,
yeah. So I think we're relatively on the same page. You know,
coming from the land of the LDS Church, Jello is in our 72-hour survival kit, I believe.
Oh yeah, it's Jello. Jello with oh hell, what did my grandma put in it? Like banana slices and pineapple and,
banana, coconut.
Or yeah, banana slices, coconut. Oh, coconut! What the hell?
Hey,
I don't think I've ever had that.
I can't remember what Jello it was. I don't know how. This is a weird segment to a different topic, but I can't remember the flavor of Jello, but it worked. And Jello does not make that flavor anymore.
Now, if it was like a Jello pudding, like a vanilla or banana pudding, maybe.
Nope. This was a Jello, just like the green Jello and the red Jello, the cherry Jello, the lime Jello.
Oh, okay. That's
it worked.
That's odd. But
and it was just coconut shavings. It wasn't a lot.
Yeah, that's definitely different for sure. But yeah, it's so I think we're relatively on the same page. Well, I don't know. What did you say? I know you already said it, but what did you say about pineapple Jello? There you go. What did you say about interdimensional? You said yes to that, right?
I'm the same interdimensional as I am hybrid alien. So 85%. Yeah, I believe it's a strong possibility.
Yeah.
But I don't think I think we're just so used to being or not now, but back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, we were so used to being intimidated by the federal government that if an alien hybrid showed up and said, "Don't do that," we would just assume we were being intimidated.
Mm-hmm.
When in reality, they're like, if you do that, you're going to hurt yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, this is something, just like the last two episodes. I mean, we may not speak about this really in another episode, but I will always research it.
Always.
This is something that I'm
sure the more UFO encounters and alien encounters we come up with, they're going to pop up from here to, every now and then.
It will. So the one I want to find out more about Bender. Like I was saying earlier, he wrote the book, but that wasn't until I think it was like 62, it said. And, what happened after that, I didn't really find much information about. Could have been linked to the McCarthy. Okay, like intergalactic babysitters. Okay, Lilith. Okay, that is something I don't know about. Really, McCarthyism. What is that?
That was the search for communists, but a whole lot more. It wasn't just.
Oh, okay.
But she's she's actually got me thinking about.
Government looking
I,
over our
I
shoulder.
I never put McCarthy and Men in Black together, but it is quite
That's
possible.
yeah. Now, what they're saying, government looking over our shoulders. Yeah, it's maybe I tell one of my good friends here all the time. Yeah, I know I'm paranoid about a lot of things, and I 100% think they're looking over our shoulders for everything we do. Yeah, there you go.
Just checking.
Yeah, that's why when you say, "Hey, what's behind you, Mike? Something moved your flag," I
Um,
freeze. Like, oh
dude,
shit.
dude, that actually scared me, and I'm 2,300 miles away
Yeah,
from
yeah, yeah. If it scared you, imagine how I feel sitting here knowing this flag is moving and I don't know why.
you. And it to me, I'll tell the story real quick. We were just talking back and forth before the last episode,
Hmm.
and I caught a shadow over Mike's shoulder.
Right here, right?
Yep, right there. And I mentioned it to Mike because to me it didn't look like the flag moved. It looked like a shadow.
Like, yeah, something walked. And see, I didn't notice it. Um, the I don't know why. I look. I very rarely am I looking at you. I'm just looking all over or looking at my video for some reason, like a weirdo. And I didn't notice it. So when you freaked out like you did, I thought, oh fuck, something is going on. So that's why I kind of went and just froze.
But yeah, Lilith is pretty much describing McCarthyism. Looking at the clubs you were in, the publications you read, they wanted you to snitch on your neighbors.
Yep. Oh, great, Lilith. That makes me feel better. Not for nothing, but I've been seeing stuff around Mike through the.
Lilith, I'm glad I'm not the only one, but he swears that there's a fan there that would blow the flag.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're seeing it, the flag move right now, or in the last 35, or since Jordy walked in here last, there's no fans blowing anywhere. Adam, come back in here and move it away. So
So
something must be haunted.
before we end this, I do have one other Men in Black story that I just read. There are two different versions of this story, so I'll tell both of them. And this story is about Dan Aykroyd.
I like this.
Yeah. So Dan Aykroyd is not big in UFOs. He is huge in paranormal.
Right.
He's done shows on UFOs,
Like Coneheads.
but he's more into the ghosts and the paranormal. But he was filming one of his shows back in 2010, and he took a break from filming, and this is where the story differs. One story says he was in the studio, and another story said he walked out to the street to take a break. The one that went to the street, there was a black tinted vehicle out there, and a gentleman in a black suit, sunglasses, and a fedora style hat or some type of hat, got out of the car and stared at Dan Aykroyd for 30 to 45 seconds. Didn't say a word. Got back in the car, and the car drove off. The second one is the man in black entered the studio and during break and stared at Dan Aykroyd for 30 to 45 seconds and then mysteriously left. When Dan Aykroyd went back to continue filming, he had found out his show just got canceled. Now, Dan Aykroyd hasn't talked a lot about it, about the specifics, but he did say that the individual in the black suit and the sunglasses intimidated him 100%. Without saying a word, Dan Aykroyd felt intimidated.
Yep.
Oh, they had those hats.
Yeah, I like Blues Brothers.
So
Yeah, that's a good story, and I wish I haven't heard it before, but I'm sure you would tell me if there was more information on it. So
it's so weird because I just found out about it today, and then as I was coming home,
Yep.
I don't know a time where there's not UFO or paranormal podcast going on in my ears.
where
The hat's
the
lined with tinfoil. They very
I'm
well.
going to do that one of these episodes instead of the classic hat that I wear.
I'm thinking about doing that.
Yep, it'll be tinfoil hat time.
All right, good to see Horrific Podcast on here with us.
Yeah, yeah, good to see you, man.
Yeah, maybe we will do a whole podcast with tinfoil hats.
I would do it. I don't care what people think.
Anyway, I found out this Dan Aykroyd story today.
Mm-hmm.
On the way home, I'm listening to a Men in Black podcast, and they're talking about the Dan Aykroyd incident.
Really?
Yeah. I'd never heard it before, and today I heard it on 3 separate occasions after I had researched it.
It's funny how that works, isn't it?
Yeah. It's the yellow Volkswagen syndrome.
Mm-hmm. Once you see one, you'll see them all.
Yep, exactly. So I don't have any more Men in Black stories, even though there are thousands of them out there.
Let me. I honestly, I think I had one more. No. Oh, the other one that I had was from 1976. I think I talked to you about it briefly, just real quick. It was Dr. Herbert Hopkins, and it was the creepy phone call, incident, I guess you would put it. He was a UFO researcher in Maine, and after working on an abduction case, he received a phone call from somebody else that was interested in it and claimed to be another researcher. And then minutes later, a strange man in a black suit and hat appeared at his door. The man looked like your typical, man in black. He ordered Hopkins to destroy all of his research, and he said, what I found was interesting. He said he noticed the visitors seemed to deteriorate physically during the visit, like a machine running out of power or something, before he left. And then that was really it.
Wow.
And they just claimed it as one of the most unsettling Men in Black cases.
Okay, now I've got to find out more.
Yeah. And
heard
that
story, but I never heard that he was kind of disintegrating at the end.
Yeah, and that I found interesting. I wish I had more information than that, but that's all I had. And I think, let me pull it up again. Yeah, that, it just said why it matters. It says this is one of the most unsettling Men in Black encounters with, him describing it as almost non-human or robotic / alien. So it was interesting. But that's all that I had.
So I'm going to let you go ahead and announce again what we're doing next Saturday. And then I've got a special announcement.
Okay, next Saturday, the 20th at, I think it's 12 p.m., so noon my time, Utah time.
2 p.m. here.
2 p.m. Your time. Carl Svensson from Sweden, my good friend up there, he is going to come on, and he's already sent me a bunch of stuff and talk about like the big UFO cases that are popular in Sweden. And I believe he's going to talk about a few of the, big paranormal cases as well.
So, yeah, we're turning the show pretty much over to Carl and
Yep.
just sitting here and asking questions and letting you guys ask questions.
Yep. So if you can make it, I mean, I know that's not our typical broadcast day, but that would be awesome. It'll be interesting for sure.
Yep. So we struggled with this a little bit since we're a brand new podcast. We didn't want to mess the time up that bad. So as well as being on Saturday at 2:00, next Friday at our normal time, we've got Madam Ophelia coming on with us. She's actually going to be sitting right about here.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. So we got Madam Ophelia coming on, and we are going to talk. We're not going to do any live readings for anybody. That's not what she does. But we're going to talk things about, like what a psychic medium thinks a spirit is, where your spirit or whatever goes. What's after this? Whether it's anything, nothing. What are trapped spirits here? How does she communicate? But the second part of it, we're going to start delving into remote viewing.
Thank you. I was hoping you said that, because I absolutely love that.
Yep.
So next
Friday at our regular time, we'll have Madam Ophelia here, and she has done remote viewing.
Yep. Awesome. Real quick, Nadine. So 2 p.m. next week. If you're talking about Saturday, it will be 2 a.m. for you.
Yep.
Because I believe you're 14 hours ahead of me. And then Friday it'll be the normal time. And then
we'll have her talk tarot too.
Yeah. And then the only other thing that I have for, leading up to Carl coming on is, if anybody has been watching any of the movies that we've suggested watch. I believe it was on Netflix at one point. I can't remember because I own it now. But UFO Sweden is a movie that it's a fictional movie, but it's based on the big UFO that crash landed in the lake in Sweden that Carl's going to be talking about.
Sweden's Roswell.
Yeah. Did you watch it?
I haven't. I'm actually watching it tomorrow or Sunday.
Okay. Yes, it is. It's fantastic. Unfortunately, I don't know if people have problems with this, but it is in Swedish, so you have to have the captions on. I don't think you can get it in English. I could be wrong, but I watch it in Swedish because I understand a lot of it. So, that's all I have.
So, one last time, please give us the thumbs up down there. Yep. Share to anybody you want to share to that has a warped mind like us. Even if they don't, share it.
Yeah.
We'll corrupt them. We'll get them all warped eventually.
Oh yeah.
If you enjoy what we do, keep coming back. Keep liking and subscribing and checking us out. And we got some other guests hopefully coming up real soon.
Yep. So, I've got a few that I've talked to here in Utah. There's no, I believe I've talked to you about it, Steve. People from I don't know when, but it'll be fun.
So I've got nothing else. Mike, you got anything?
I think I'm good.
Right.
Thanks everybody for coming.
Thanks. Everybody stay spooky. You guys all have a great night.
See you guys later.